Gab Rossi.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. We're being formal. Mr. Katz.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right, mate. All good. All just chilling, just sucking up the environment. There's an interesting smell in your apartment, man. I'm not quite sure what that is.
I just cooked chicken.
No, it's not. No, it's like incense or some shit.
Oh, yeah, there's orange,
Orange?
vanilla, and like this other weird smell.
Yeah, we'll put it all together. It's weird. All together.
All right. Weird as in negative, or
Yeah. It's like,
you don't like it?
oh, no.
No, tell me if you don't like it. I'll get rid of it.
No, I don't believe that. I don't know. I feel like I've walked into one of those, those like shops like that run by those lefties, like the, you know what I mean, like it's like a chai tea sort of scent to it.
Yeah.
And I'm just waiting for some kid with blue hair to walk in, with can I take your order, please? That sort of thing.
Well, it's sort of like that. This is an open space. We encourage you to say whatever you want. No one's going to judge you.
No, man, I've been judged all my life. I don't care anymore. When you get to a certain age, Johnny, I'm sure you're past that age too, you don't give a fuck what people think.
No, you don't. I think our stand-up... By the way, Gab Ross is a very competent and very good comedian. I don't know if you've ever seen him before, but he's great. Check him out. He's all over social media.
Yeah, I'm going hard on TikTok, man, because that was my lockdown savior. Was making 2 or 3 TikToks a day. That's how I got through. That's how I kept my shit together.
Yeah, you did a lot of clips.
Heaps. A lot of them about our beloved Premier Dan Andrews, which I know that not everybody agreed with. But end of the day, if you still, at this point in time, think that the man did a good job, well, I don't really want to know you anyway, so I don't care.
I love how you just blanket, like, I don't want to fucking know you.
No. No, you got no excuse. I mean, if you want to sit on the fence, okay, because I know there's people out there that aren't politically engaged and they'd rather stay out of all that shit.
You know, I timed how long before you jump into Dan Andrews at the start of this podcast.
Yeah, that's it.
And
mate.
I was like, I give it 5 minutes.
No, I always like to exceed those expectations. Look, I'm not going to talk about him for the whole hour, though. But
I won't let you because I know I want you to have a platform to say what you think.
Mm-hmm.
So go for it. Try and
No, but I won't talk about him for an hour because
don't.
like maybe if you had got me 6 months ago, right in the midst of the whole thing, yeah, I would spend 2 hours talking about him. But he's fallen down a set of stairs. That's what he tells everyone. He's out of the picture at the moment.
Did you push him? That's the question. Where were you on that day?
I wish, mate. No, but at the end of the day, he's out of the picture at the moment. I don't know if he's ever coming back. So, I've got a feeling he won't.
Is he that fucked?
It's more to it than that. I think there's more forces at play. No, he didn't fall down the stairs. That's a load of shit. Everyone knows that.
Oh, wow. No, I don't. I'm not politically savvy as you are. So you reckon he didn't fall down the stairs?
No, I know he didn't fall down the stairs. But I'm not. I mean, I can put out rumours if I want, and that's all they'll be. But I know I've got some sources. He didn't fall, and there's a lot more.
What happened to him?
Well,
was the whole back injury bullshit? Like, was he in a back brace?
No. He fell downstairs.
Was it Caesar? Did the party put knives in his back? Is that why he was in hospital?
No, more union guys.
So union guys belted him?
Pretty much. That's the story I'm hearing, yeah. I'm not going to go any further, though, because, I'm sure. And,
Gab's Italian. He's got connections. He knows these things.
Yeah, man.
Forget about it. Don't ask.
Sleep with the fishes. No, but I mean, seriously, the wet stairs story. I mean, if anyone believed that, there's something very seriously wrong with their mentality.
I believe the wet stairs story plus about 3 bottles of wine.
Well,
after a session, it's easy to slip on stairs.
How about the wet stairs, 3 bottles of wine, and 4 union thugs? Add that into the picture.
Yeah, right. Okay.
And also, it wasn't at his house; it was at the Fox's house. Everyone knows that anyway.
Why did they belt him?
Believe there was a disagreement over lockdowns, and they were sort of getting into him, and he said something to one of them that they didn't particularly like, and that's how they retaliated. That's the story I'm hearing.
Can you go deeper as to what it was about?
Well, I can't. I mean, if I go deeper, I could look like a dickhead because I'm going off second, third-hand information. But at the same time,
so all I know is that union thugs allegedly belted him up. For contractual agreements,
no,
over pay disputes.
No, they were dirty on. No, they were basically saying no more lockdowns, mate. And he's like, "Well, I can do what I want. I'm the premier," and that's when they sort of lost their shit. So
If I was to play devil's advocate,
Mhm.
didn't our lockdown do a really good job?
Mhm.
Admittedly, Dan Andrews fucked up the hotel quarantine. That was a brutal mistake.
Yep.
He mopped it up as best as he could.
Yeah.
He should have gone because he fucked it up.
Well,
He
had he have gone at the end of that, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
He threw Jenny Mikakos under the bus, but she had to go as well because she was health minister. So
Yep.
fuck, you total like 700 cases a day. The
Yep.
rest of the country's got like
20.
exactly. So
Well, I mean, the lockdowns did their job, but at the end of the day, like,
aren't we way better off than like fuck? At least we're not like life is normal here now.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, but do you?
I mean, I'm gigging. I'm having fun.
Yeah, you can
It's
play.
not like friends in the UK who are struggling.
Yeah, but be that as it may, what caused the lockdown? I mean, if someone gives you a bucket after they burnt
he's
your house
fucked up.
down, you don't go, thanks, mate. Thanks for the bucket.
Right.
And also, let's be honest too. Every day on TV, was he filling us with hope? Was he inspiring us? Was he giving us something to look forward to? No, it's like, oh, we're almost there, but you guys have still got to stop doing the wrong thing. And he was just critical and he was negative and he just brought us down. You can't tell me that the mood of this state is better since he's been completely out of the picture. And yes, you could say, okay, well, we've opened up, sure, but we don't have to deal with this guy's negative face and shit tone of voice every time he was on the telly. So he was just basically a drainer. That's what he was. He didn't have to be front and center in the way that he was the whole time. He drained us, mate. He actually said to us, "You guys did the wrong thing." Obviously, we found out a little bit differently because I keep telling people out there, "How did we do any worse than New South Wales people? Are you telling me, or Queensland people? Are you telling me that they had lower cases because they all followed the rules and we didn't?" That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Everyone in this country is of a similar mindset. Some followed rules, a few didn't. That would be Australia-wide. Only one state had, massive outbreak. One state. One state has 90% of all the deaths in this country. One state has...
Is that us?
That's us. What, there's 820 deaths in Victoria and 89 in the rest of the country.
Okay. We've got to move this quickly. Are you
Sure.
taking the vaccine?
No. Not because I'm an anti-vaxxer either. I just don't trust this one.
I'll be honest with you. I'm laughing, not derisory towards
No,
you.
I didn't take it that way.
I'm just like, I agree with you. I don't know if I'm going to take it because there's yet again more blood clot cases popping up.
Well, I mean, they're gonna keep coming up, and yes, okay, they don't happen as often, but so what? If you're that 1 in 10,000 chance,
That's you.
that's you, man. Like we don't know. I don't know if I'm prone to blood clotting. You never know. I don't know.
Never know. We eat.
And I'm 50 years old, so I'm not even allowed to take the Pfizer. So
Yeah,
go
I
fuck
know.
yourselves. I'm not taking the AstraZeneca. No chance.
No. I'm afraid of blood clots too. I eat Greek. I dip my bread in the oil. I'm scared.
I haven't had any bread for 5 weeks, mate. I'm on a low carb diet, so
You're looking good.
yeah, I lost 10 kilos.
You were getting pudgy there for a bit.
Badly. Yeah, I got almost back to my pre-fucking training weight when I was back at the start of my 40s when I started seeing a PT. I got down to 78 kilos. I was doing good.
Admittedly, you have very good willpower. When you put your mind to
100%.
something,
Mm.
you complete it. Because last time,
Yep.
you lost a lot of weight.
Nearly 20 kilos last time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you would be very stern in the face. You were like, "No, I just did it, man. I just put it."
And that's the same
That's it,
again.
just
Same
do it.
again. 5 weeks of low carbs and sticking to a plan and just doing it, and it just came off. And
So
now,
what's your secret? What would you say to people that are like, "Oh, I can't. I'm fucking struggling." And is it just willpower,
well,
programming?
I think I'm smart in the sense that I do these diets that are short term. Because if you can't go on a diet for 6 months. It's fucking insane.
Mm.
No one can do that. So if you're on a serious trip to wanting to lose weight, try and find it. Everyone says, "Oh, you shouldn't lose weight quick." Mate, it depends on your body. Like if you're kind of lean and you just want to lose a couple kilos, that's hard because you're already lean. But if you've got like excess weight, fuck, that shit falls off straight away if you just go hard early. Like the first 2 weeks, I lost 6 kilos, right?
6 kilos.
Yeah, because it's just shit. It's just fluid and crap. You know what I mean?
What's that? Is that like 200 grams a day?
I guess, yeah. But like ketosis diets. This is the style of diet that low carb food creates. It basically turns your body into a fat burning machine.
Yeah.
So literally, and I was testing my wee every day. Well, you get this little dipstick. You test it. You piss on it. So it's midstream. You got to do it midstream. And if it turns a certain color, it tells you what level of fat burning you're at, and you've got to be in a certain range.
Where do you get these sticks from?
So I did a program called Ultralight. So I'm not going to, I shouldn't be doing an advertisement here, but I've done it before. Like 10 years ago was the last time I did it when I got a bit heavy, and I knew it was a very effective diet. So I did it again. And, yeah, it still has the same results. I mean, admittedly, last time I did it, I was 40 years old, and I lost 12 kilos in 5 weeks. So now that I'm a bit older, I think to lose 9 kilos or 9.5 roughly was not as good as that time. But then again, I probably was a tad heavier when I did it last time when I started. So yeah. But I noticed the last 2 weeks was a little bit hard. So I jumped on the treadmill. I thought, no, I've got to make this work. And so I've started running. Now I'm still running. Stopped the diet, but I'm still doing the running.
Okay, so when you were on the diet, it was a low-carb diet.
I'm still eating low carbs, though, just having a little bit more food now.
And you is it the first piss of the morning that you use a litmus test
paper?
100%. And you dunk the paper into your
No,
pee?
so you're sitting there on the toilet, either standing up or whatever, and as
you sit when you pee?
Well, yeah, I like to, mate. Because, I usually taking a dump at the same time, but that's another story, right?
No, I sit when I pee as well, especially with Morning Glory.
Absolutely.
I just sit.
So basically, I start weeing, and then about 3 or 4 seconds in, then I put the tip of the stick into the stream, and then just take it out, and then it just turns a certain color depending on how you're going with ketosis.
Are you burning good fat?
Well, I was. I don't know about now. I've stopped doing it. Like I said, the diet ended for me. The 5-week program ended on Monday for me.
That's interesting. Have you tried intermittent fasting? That's what I've been doing for the last 10 years.
Yeah, you've been doing it. Yeah, look, I've given that a go. My issue is I love fast food. Like, I'm not going to lie, right? Okay. So, mate, you put a pizza in front of me, a large, I can eat it. Yeah. I can eat it all, right? So the trick is that intermittent fasting, I probably... Yeah, I'll probably give it another go because I think skipping breakfast is not the worst thing to do. Yeah. So
Europeans, when I was in Greece and Italy and
Spain, they don't have breakfast.
They don't fucking have breakfast. They just have a cigarette.
Well,
cigarette
actually, today I've only had 2 meals today. Like I ate at 11 o'clock and again at 5 o'clock.
Yeah, because you shrink your stomach over time.
Yeah, I'm not hungry. Because of this diet, it's because I've figured out, the do's and don'ts of what I should and shouldn't be eating. Like, I can go into a cafe or restaurant now and actually order a low-carb meal. So, like today, I went to Zata just in Sydney Road there.
Oh, Zata. Yeah, I know Zata.
Yeah, and I just said, listen,
they're good.
Yeah, well, I just said to them, I said, look, I'm still eating low carbs. I don't want any breads. Can you put something together for me? And so they gave me a little bit of sausage with an egg and some cucumber, tomato, a little bit of dip. There was all protein, all carbs, and no real heavy carbs,
Yeah, they've got it all covered now.
Yeah, well, you'd think so.
Yeah. You can get a burger in a lettuce cup, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, well, let's not go too far.
It's actually refreshing.
Yeah. Well, didn't you used to do that in your place? Yeah, no, and I meant to try it one day. I never got around to it because that all went to shit. But anyway.
The bread, yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, look, you're right about one thing. When I put my mind to something, yes, I will, especially with the weight loss, yes. And it takes...
That's your nature. You've always been independent, like tickets for the lounge. And,
I haven't got choice, mate.
Yeah, you do your own thing.
Try to.
Well, you do have a choice. For me, I just join the workforce. I just get a job.
Oh yeah, but during lockdown, I got a 2-month job at Star Trek. I mean, it was more than 2 months. I would have kept going. It's just that I actually. How funny is this? All the people listening will piss themselves. So, first job I ever had in 20 years, like employee sort of role, and I'm a wog, yeah, and I got injured. I fucked my finger. So this.
I was going to say your back.
No, it wasn't my back. I actually snapped a tendon in one of my fingers.
How'd you manage that?
It just got snagged on a coat hanger. So I was working at Star Trek and I was picking their Myers stock. Right. So they do Myer online.
Yep.
So they have all their garments all stuffed in these little boxes and some of them on coat hangers. So I'm just sitting there yanking away at this thing, and what people don't understand is how I did the injury is because my left hand is numb because I've had carpal tunnel in my left hand. So
what's carpal tunnel, man?
Well, that's when your nerves sort of get compressed in your wrist, and you end up with numbness in your fingers. So what they do to actually remedy that is they usually give you they cut you open, and what they do is they call it carpal tunnel release, where they basically they open it up again, where the nerves are all pushed in, so that you reduce your sensitivity in your fingers. So I've had that operation. But
you play guitar. Does that affect your guitar
fucking
playing?
oath it does, mate.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I mean, like right now, I pulled out the guitar last week at the Comics Lounge, first time in 5 months.
Wow.
And even now, the feeling is not quite back yet. I had the operation to fix the carpal tunnel in January, and that's what I was getting at is when I snapped the finger, because I didn't have much feeling, I didn't know I'd done it. I'm sitting there pulling on these coat hangers, bending my finger sideways, right? And anyway, got what I needed, went to the trolley, look at my finger, it was mangled. Like it looked like this. So it was like a hook, right? And I thought, oh, what have I done? So I tried to straighten it, thinking I dislocated it. And, usually when you dislocate, you can go like that. It clicks back into place. This wasn't doing no such thing. So I went to the hospital that night, and they weren't sure. They got me x-rayed the next day, and then I got told I got this thing called mallet finger. They basically, where you snap the tendon in the top joint, and it just, you can't, you got to, you know what I had to do? I had to keep it, you might have seen it. I had to keep it in a splint for 10 weeks.
Oh, 10 weeks.
10
wow.
weeks. And the thing is, if you bend it, like at any point during that time, more so towards the beginning, but maybe you get away with it towards the end, you have to start again.
Was it the middle finger?
Middle finger. That one,
so you're set for
one,
road rage for 10 weeks.
Absolutely, like this. So anyway, cut a long story short, that's come good now. But the carpal tunnel still means I've still got numbness in there. And to top it off, just to make my year complete, I fell down the stairs just like Dan Andrews, except I was sober, right? And there weren't any union thugs there. I've landed on this shoulder, and one of the reasons I got fat is because normally I'd be playing golf 3 times a week, walking around.
Inactive.
I've been inactive. I blew out to 94 kilos.
Yeah.
Now I'm back to 85, so which is a more manageable weight, but I'm still quietly going to try and get to 80 by the end of the year, just easily, or just by running, just by eating well,
Yeah, that's good, man.
So 80 kilos is where I'd like to be. I'm quite skinny. The only problem with me being skinny is I reckon got too big a fat head. And when I look skinny, I look like a fucking chuppy chup. You know what I mean? Like got this big head on this little body.
Big head, small body,
Yeah, because my head doesn't shrink. That's the problem.
It stays the same.
It gets a bit narrower. I lose the fucking jowls, whatever. But
yeah, under the chin fat. Yeah, you lose that.
But that's it. Still got the buff head.
Yeah, I've never noticed that. But yeah, you have a wide...
I've got a wide, fat fucking head.
Wide, face, I'd say.
I feel sorry for my wife because she gave birth to my son. He's got the same head, mate. So yeah, man. And I was there when
that would have hurt.
There was no fucking anesthesia.
Why? Normally a chick gets an epidural. I'm doing a massive disservice to women here, but they get an epidural in the back, don't they?
She did the first pregnancy, and that was quite uneventful. Like, I mean, as far as pregnancy, like actually childbirth goes. But the second one, oh man, I can still see this bird's face, this midwife. It's like she was trying to talk her out of getting an epidural. She was one of them.
Why?
Oh, a lot of them.
Are some of them anti-medicine, like pro-natural birth? What is it?
I can't quite work out what this person's, modus operandi was. But one thing I have noticed is that, look, apparently there are dangers with epidural too. So some women, very rare of course, but there are the odd occasion because there's a lack of feeling, when they got the epidural, that sometimes they do damage to their back when they're pushing and they don't know because they can't feel it. Whereas So anyway, to cut a long story short though, with the epidural, if you don't get it within a certain time, it's too late. So in other words, if the birth is coming on within a few minutes, there's no point. It doesn't kick in quick enough. And that's what happened. She kept putting it off, and then bang, next thing you know, she's delivering a baby with completely natural.
Holy fuck.
And
were you in there?
Oh, of course I was there. And not only was I there, I was holding, I was standing behind my wife, and she had me, as the baby was coming out, she had me in a full fucking headlock, my missus. Full headlock. Like literally.
Like you weren't annoying her with a story or anything?
Not at all.
You were being
mate.
supportive?
No, mate.
You weren't being typical Gab. Just one more thing. Let me say
No, mate.
this.
In that situation.
My golf shot, honey, it's getting better. You should see me slice.
No, mate. Even a dickhead like me even knows to shut my fucking mouth when the woman's giving birth to a baby.
So the poor thing was channeling her rage, just fucking all that
Well,
physical.
first, this actually, she's told me this. I had a T-shirt on, nice T-shirt, right? And first she started like pulling on my T-shirt. And even though she was like in a world of pain, this is her thinking, yeah? She's sitting there going, in her mind going, oh, I can't be pulling on his T-shirt. That's a nice T-shirt.
That's
I can't, no, it gets better. She said, I don't want him to look all wrecked in the photo. So she then goes, well, I can't hold on to his T-shirt. I know, I'll put my arms around his fucking neck. Right, because what doesn't matter if my head's fucked.
Yeah.
She was worried about the T-shirt, right? Because T-shirt, I guess, can't be repaired, whereas apparently my head can. Anyway, so as the baby's coming out, fuck yeah, I was full headlock, and that kid
You just had it like that. around you.
full on. My head was pressed into her shoulder.
And it was probably the only time you're in a headlock and you weren't willingly trying to get out of it. You were like, whatever you need, honey.
Well, I was about ready to smash her at one point. No, but on a serious note, the poor girl, right? This kid came out.
It's your daughter, right?
Son. This is the second.
Oh, this is Anton.
This is number
Anton
2.
was second.
Anton was second, yeah. So he came out, and it seemed all right at first, and the next push split her open, and there was no anesthesia. I don't know how the fuck, and I have never seen so much blood in my life.
Oh my God.
And I don't know how the fuck she was able to, I mean, she was screaming, don't get me wrong, but I would have passed out, without a doubt. Like, surely, you pass out
man.
Or vomit.
Jesus, I want an epidural for some shit sometimes, let alone pushing a baby
Yeah,
out.
no, so, yeah, man, I was there through that, and, yeah, fuck.
Fuck.
And my missus has difficult pregnancies. Her obstetrician even said after number 2, I don't want to see you again. Well, because she was,
Do you know the mechanics? Why behind it? Is
it
it
just could have something to do with age. I mean, she was 37 with the second one, and I know that there are women who have babies way past that. But it's
who was it? Effie from Acropolis Now. She had a baby at Mary Custis.
Yeah, 50 odd, yeah.
49,
yeah.
50.
Yeah,
look,
it can be done, but you know what though? I would certainly have to imagine they'd have to be in a reasonably good state of fitness to actually, because
Penny was fit.
Yeah, she was all right. I mean, regardless though, like she developed gestational diabetes too with the second one, and that's a lot more common as women get older.
I don't understand that. Diabetes is when you eat too much sugar, right?
Yeah, but you get it in gestation, so sometimes it develops. She's not a diabetic, Penny, and she's not a diabetic now.
But during
pregnancy, she developed what they call gestational diabetes. Yeah, I know, it's a bit hard for me to get my head around.
So the insulin wasn't enough to mop up all the shit.
Yeah, and she had to take, insulin during that pregnancy. But literally within a week of giving birth, it was gone.
And then we go fuck other women. Fuck, we're cunts.
Speak for yourself, mate. Fucking hell, where'd that come from? Penny, that's Johnny talking. If in case
it's
you ever
me being a malaka.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm just, how some guys, a lot of guys just don't give a fuck and do what they do.
Oh well, I know women that cheat on guys too, man.
Yeah.
Occasionally, they're better at hiding it though.
So that would have been a horrific sight for you to see, man, when she was like that.
Yeah, you don't think of it at the time though. You know what? Look,
because you're going through it.
Well, you just
got to keep moving.
No, see, in those situations, you're there for, you just got to get on with it and do what you got to do. Do whatever needs to be done. You don't even think about that stuff. It was pretty bad, but but she handled it probably better than I ever could. This is where you do wonder about pain thresholds, men and women. But we couldn't endure that. There's no way. I mean, I know it sounds ridiculous.
What do you mean we couldn't endure that?
If we had to pass something out like that, I just can't see us putting up with that shit.
Oh, look, I think without doing a disservice to any of that,
of course,
yeah. You see, I watched this documentary on World War II, and limbs were flying off, and soldiers were just walking up to their arms and picking them up.
Yeah. I mean,
because they reckon this surge of adrenaline kicks in.
Well, that may be the case with her that day. That she might have had that going on too. But I know,
Well, I'm sure that's what a lot of people who are anti-drugs would say. Like, let your natural body kick in with its pain threshold. But fuck that. If there's an epidural there, take it.
No, her obstetrician showed up a bit later, and he was furious that she wasn't given the obstetrician.
Yeah, isn't that negligence or malpractice from the midwife?
I don't know, man. I mean, look, there are too many instances where they do try and give the epidural, and it's too late because sometimes they get caught out. Like sometimes you could be, dilating slightly, and then 5 minutes later, all of a sudden you're ready to go. So they can always hide behind that if they actually. But I felt being there, I felt she was trying to engineer it. I really do. But it's done. It's over. Look, mate, when you have a baby and stuff like that, you don't want to sit there and start, making waves. You just want to take the baby home and get out of there. You know what I mean? So we weren't going to go into it. But yeah, her obstetrician was not particularly impressed with the situation, and he arrived, with not enough time to administer an epidural, so wasn't anything to do about it, And he even literally had to stitch her up without anesthesia.
Holy shit!
Yeah. Oh, it was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. Yeah.
Was she completely out of it, or was she there talking
No, she was
to
conscious.
you?
Yeah.
She was just holy
Oh,
shit.
look, maybe after something like that happens, you'd probably have a certain amount of numbness, if you know what I mean, down there. You know. So anyway, dude, yeah, this is a bit of a gruesome memory, but yeah, that's life, and
That's it.
and
That's life.
I mean, like childbirth, it's huge, but apparently you can't call them mothers anymore. But that's all right. They can go through that, but you got to call them the childbirthing parent now. Apparently.
That's surely a small
Yeah, but they're
percentage that are trying to make it out that it's the majority.
Yeah, but they're
most people are.
But they're
mummy
very
and daddy,
vocal,
you know?
man. They're very vocal.
They are fucking vocal, but that's their. They have to.
Yeah, but they get
their,
traction because the media lap that shit up, mate. Oh,
Mm.
fuck, the media give it air, so they shouldn't. How is the word mother offensive? It's one of the most, beautiful words in the English language, and should always remain that way. And anyone that thinks it's offensive, I mean, I'd actually like to meet one person who says the word's offensive personally, so I can basically just reduce them to tears.
I'm yet to meet anyone.
Yeah, I know. I haven't personally met anyone, but you see them. They're out there. I mean, there's a weird agenda going on, though, with all that sort of shit.
Do you think the pendulum will swing back the other way, or do you think it's going to get worse? I mean,
I don't know.
I haven't seen any change in comedy rooms. Like, I perform at the Comics Lounge, and people still like funny. They're still laughing.
Yeah, but you still live in Australia too, mate. So we're always a bit behind the rest of the world. So I'm pretty sure that it's certainly impacting rooms in the US and the UK. Absolutely.
You reckon?
1,000%. I'm sure it is, mate.
You think there are comics getting pulled up saying,
mate,
you can't use that word tomorrow night or you're out?
Well, all I know is in the US for more than a decade or so now, there's comedians, for example, that will refuse to do college gigs because they know that they're just going to have a bunch of liberals in the room just going, you can't talk about that, that's offensive. So they don't even bother anymore. And they also know that, they say something on stage and one of the dickheads in the room will record it and film it and post it all over social media, or if they don't like a certain comedian, they'll troll their Twitter account and find some quote that, can be deemed offensive, and they'll go through their tweets from 2011 and just get them cancelled, So they just go, it's not worth the risk. That's America. America's crazy like that. And the UK, certainly, I imagine, you've got better experience in the UK, but then again, you've been back a number of years now, haven't you?
About 2.5.
Oh, is that all?
3 years.
Is that all?
18, 19, 20.
Well, I'm telling you
Yeah,
now, it's coming.
3.
It's coming for them too, mate. It's coming for them, and they're trying to come for us, but maybe we're a bit more insulated. Maybe we're a bit further away, So, but they're coming. They're trying. I'm the man that's, well, not the man, but one of a few, I imagine. I'm all about pushing back against that. That's what I do on my social media. So I'm absolutely adamant that there is something even more insidious than cancel culture, and that's coward culture. If you let these fuckers absolutely control you, you will lose. And I've got too much to lose, mate. I've got everything invested in what I do, so I'm going to let these fuckers know. Look, I make videos about, questioning all sorts of things, COVID, climate change. And quite frankly, I'm not even necessarily being serious in a lot of those videos. I literally dangle the bait.
Yeah, of course.
I want these fuckers to come out, right? So, say for example, I did a video. I did a video a month or two ago about solar panels, right? And how, and look, this part of what I put, I always put elements of truth, of course. So it is a fact that they still haven't got the recycling of used solar panels right yet, okay? And it's still a way off. And at the moment, very debatable as to whether it's even viable, like cost effective to recycle a solar panel. So we are in a real serious, threat of...
back up for me. What do you mean recycling solar panels? Like the
Cyc-
actual solar panel that sits on your roof
Correct.
when it reaches its use by date?
Yeah, so they're only good for 20, 25 years max, right?
Okay, and then they get recycled
Well, not yet.
because we can't?
Well, it can be done, but they reckon that it's not really cost effective to do so.
So
in other words,
put it in landfill.
well, that's the potential, yeah. So I just basically made a video saying, what, essentially the video was set in 2050, right? And in the video, I'm basically saying, yeah, we don't really use solar anymore because we filled up all the, too much landfill with all that shit. It's a hypothetical video, and it's also tongue in cheek, yeah. Because I mean, I don't know. I mean, I have since learnt, like I mentioned in the video too, that there are some toxic elements in solar panels, like for example, cadmium, but I've also since learned that they virtually don't use that anymore. So I've learned something, right? But at the end of the day, I mentioned it in the video, and they were going, "Oh, they don't use cadmium anymore." I'm like, yeah, you're missing the fucking point here. The point is that they haven't figured out the most effective way to recycle solar panels. It's still not quite settled. So we are still in a real situation. And they've come after me. And you know what? That video was posted 6 or 7 weeks ago, right? I'm still getting comments today.
Really?
People telling me, "Oh, you're wrong."
That's a good thing, though, isn't it? Like,
it's great.
Don't you want traction like that?
I absolutely want the traction.
And you've got such a thick skin. I don't think you give a fuck
what these people think.
So let them, you know? As long as you're funny on stage, that's all that matters.
But this one guy that was talking, and I'm talking today, a conversation on that post today, 6, 7 weeks later, he's still sitting there trying to pull me up on the cadmium thing. And I'm like, I got that. I know that only 2% of solar panels have cadmium in it. I've since learnt that. But everything else I'm saying in that video has an element of truth. But you do, and then I finished the conversation with, but you do understand that what I've done here is getting fuckwits like you to come out and hassle me.
Do you have time at home where your wife Penny says, "Put your phone down. You're not on social media for the rest of the night because
all right." So I'm in
you're storming around the house. You're riled up. You're answering
back.
back.
Don't do that. No, we'll put
but you're clearly more animated. Like you're animated now.
Yeah.
So it maybe rile you up is such a strong word, but it has an effect on you. So
sure.
I'm just curious. Does the wife say, "You know what? Put your phone away. No social media. Fucking come down and watch a movie with us"?
Well, I'll tell. Well, we don't sit there and watch movies for a start.
All right, whatever you do.
No, but you've got to understand the dynamic of my household, right? So the kids are in bed by 9:30, and so's my wife, right? Because end of the day, she starts work every day at 6:30. Okay, so she's got to be up early. We do that because I do the school drop off, she does the pickup. So she finishes early enough, she can finish early enough to pick up the kids. So from 6 o'clock to say 9 o'clock, there's no phone. I mean, I might flit a little bit on the phone, but certainly not focused on it. I sometimes cook dinner and clean up or whatever. She's doing the laundry, whatever, getting kids' lunches ready. From 6 to 9, I don't really look at my phone that much, right? But when she goes to bed, from 9:30, 10 o'clock, that's heaps of time.
That's your time.
That's when it all happens, mate. And sometimes I'm still at bed in fucking 2 o'clock in the morning, still going, fucking on the phone, mate. You know? So yeah.
I don't look. Once I post things, I don't look. Only because it rolls.
Yeah, but your phone's probably not sitting there going beep 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 beep. Yeah, I'll go nuts, mate. But I'm, like TikTok's been great for me. I love TikTok because the videos are so easy to make. They're just so easy. I can churn out 3 or 4 a day, and then you get these dickheads going, "Oh, why don't you get a life? All you do is make TikToks." They take fucking 5 minutes to make. So make 4 a day. There's a whole 20 minutes of my day, And I just sit there. I plant the bomb and let the fucking explosions happen.
To what end though? Is it more of a creative outlet?
Yeah, 100%. Because there's always, I'm always.
But it's also planting bombs as well.
Yeah, but
you like to ruffle feathers.
Absolutely, but I'm also, injecting humor into most of
Of course.
So there's always a humorous element. And what I love is every now and then I'll put out a video, and I look at it, I watch it, and I go, it's not really that funny. But I know the premise is funny. When I read the comments and all these people saying, "Oh, this is hilarious," mate, it's great. That's a good feeling because I know that they get me. Because they know that I'm just being a fucking right? Because look, and then I get accused of also being a right-wing conservative, and I fucking hate that because I'm not. Like I keep trying to explain to people.
Well, explain it now. What are your political?
Well, I'd like to think I'm very centrist, and the only reason why lefties think I'm a righty is because I fucking hate the way they carry on, right? So I push back against them because the right-wingers, as much as they annoy me, because I'm not religious, I'm not really how can I put this? I certainly have my views on abortion, for example, but I'm not against it completely. You know what I mean? The right-wingers are very anti-abortion, very religious, all that shit, And as far as capital...
So you're pro-choice?
Pro-choice, but within certain parameters.
What's the parameter?
Oh, well, I'd like to think that, if you can make a decision like that in the first trimester or at least early in the second, you're not going to fucking do it at 9 months. That's insane.
I have a problem with an abortion past 4 or 5 months.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying too. So I don't think you and I are different.
Only because I've read reports where midwives are saying that the baby responds to stimuli from ultrasounds.
Absolutely.
So it has a level of awareness.
Yes.
So yeah,
so that's my concern is that it's and I just don't understand why
gay marriage.
No, I have no issue with gay marriage whatsoever. Yep. In fact, if there's any gay people that just happen to stumble across this, male or female, I don't really care. IMC weddings, and I'm dying to do a same-sex one. I haven't done one yet because I reckon that'd actually be more fun. I actually reckon that there's a creative element to LGBT people that you straight people don't have, and I reckon their weddings will be more fun to do.
Fuck yeah, man.
I reckon so.
It's
I reckon
open-minded. Anything goes.
Well, I just reckon they got more flair.
Yeah, more.
They might even give me a bit more license to have a bit of.
Well, that's what I mean. They'll give you more. They'll be open to your suggestions.
But anyway, all jokes aside, I have no issue with gay marriage whatsoever.
But it is interesting because on the circuit, how do I say this without offending you? A lot of people think you're politically right,
well, there it
conservative,
is.
and I'm like, I don't think he's right, man.
No,
I knew all this information before I asked you just now. I knew you were a pro-gay marriage, and
I mean, I just don't like the left because I think let's say the radical left, all right? I don't like the radical left, and even some of the moderate lefties still buy into a lot of that stuff too. So that there's a smugness about them. There's a self-righteousness because they've convinced themselves that they're the only humanitarians on the planet. I mean, there are humanitarians on both sides of the spectrum, and I don't care what anyone says. I'm a humanitarian. I give a fuck about people, and I don't think these people really do care. I think they just care about what they think and what they think is right. For example, I'm not going to be told after copying fucking racist taunts as a kid and for having darker skin as a kid than all the other Aussies in my classroom, now all of a sudden I'm a fucking white conservative. Get fucked. Get fucked. Seriously, I'm not a white anything. I don't even think of myself as white.
We are white, though.
Yeah, we're Caucasians, okay?
We're wogs, but we're white.
Yeah,
not
yeah.
wogs from the UK. That's completely different. For all my friends in the UK.
Yeah, wogs means Southern Europeans. It's not really.
It's Dago. It's the equivalent of Dago.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
get called wogs here in Australia. But we're white, man. We're white.
No. I accept that we
only in summer we go brown.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying, though.
Ryan
I
or Dramana.
Yeah, but I accept that we are Caucasians. But the Anglo term is more something I think needs to be addressed because we're not Anglos. We're not white Anglo-Saxons. We're white
We're not
Europeans.
Anglo-Saxons. No.
Right, exactly. So, but we get lumped in with that. And I don't like that. Because now all of a sudden, I'm supposed to be feeling guilty, about like Australians or British colonising Australia? Like I'm supposed to feel guilty about that when I have Italian heritage? Like this is the sort of shit they're lumping on me. And I'm like, fuck off. I didn't do that. Not even my ancestors did that. Oh, yeah, but your ancestor did. Mate,
I think the Greeks...
Yeah, but
I think the ancient Greeks commandeered slaves from the Slavic regions of Eastern Europe. That's what born the name slaves.
Yeah.
From Slavs.
Yeah, but what about
Africans?
What about
I think I've got blood on my hands.
Yeah, but what about 400 years ago when the Africans invaded the south of Italy and took over fucking Calabria and Sicily, mate? Mate, what do you think?
But didn't Italy go to Ethiopia?
That was years later.
Why the fuck did you go to Ethiopia?
I know, but apparently the Ethiopians love Italians because no, they do, because not Ethiopia, Somalia as well, because they rebuilt that country. So they've actually gone in there and revamped the joint.
Yeah, but there was once upon a time where you machined the gun the fuck out of them and all they had was spears.
How long ago was that, though?
1920s.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. All I know is that, yeah, that's quite possible. But don't forget, 400 years ago...
But that was Mussolini, too. That was one man on behalf of Italy.
400 years ago, though, the Moors invaded the south of Italy. Now, Italians, by nature...
Who were the Moors?
An African tribe from the north of Africa. They crossed the Mediterranean and just raped and pillaged, right? And basically, this is the thing that's I think they would have even invaded the south of Greece as well. So what happened is, originally the Italians and the Greeks, I believe, possibly, but definitely the Italians were Aryan, man. They were blonde hair, blue eyed. And then now 400 years later, we're all dark, and that's because of the Moors.
I blame the Turks for that.
Well, that's
400 years of Ottoman rule.
Yeah, maybe. But see what I'm saying? Like, you want to go through history. There's not a single race on the planet that hasn't got blood on its hands in some way or other. Not one.
Probably, yeah.
I mean, even the
I can't call it.
Even the indigenous Australians were not the original people. But you're talking thousands of years ago.
More than 60,000.
Well, this is what they claim. But apparently there was a previous group of people here.
For real?
Yeah, this is what I've read. Yeah, I've
read Neanderthals? How far back are we going?
Oh, well, I mean, I don't know, but I'm just saying that that there's talk that they came from parts of Asia and worked their way down. So
I'm out of my depth. I'm so out of my depth. I don't like. Do you think Israel and Palestine can be fucking cured, man? I just think this happens every 15 years. Every 15 years, it makes the SBS World News. Oh, yeah, Israel's bowling Palestine again. Palestine's throwing rocks. Here we go again.
Yep.
Lasts for 3-4 months, then it fades off.
Yep.
The fuck, man?
I mean, what do you do? You know, what are people going to say if I say to you that during Trump's reign that never happened? What does that mean? And then as soon as Biden gets into power and starts, you know, I mean, I'm just saying, I don't know. I mean, because the Americans seem to have their fingers in all the pies too. So, you know what I mean? In some way or other, they seem to, you know, they're like, they sneeze, everyone else catches a cold. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. Look, as far as
you do know, you've thought about it.
I have, but
But you're joining dots. So what dots have you done? What proof do you have because of
No.
dot that you? Not proof, but what do you have to say about the dot that you've just joined?
I mean,
now that Biden's in.
Well, put it this way: the previous administration had brokered a fair amount of peace in the Middle East. They were opening up trade routes for Israel with a few other nations who they hadn't been speaking to for years, and yeah, essentially that seems to be in reverse now. So because anything Trump did was like no good. So let's just go against that. It's like, for example, Trump came on board and tried to, you know, pull Iran into line. You can say whatever you want about whether you thought the Iranian deal was good or bad. I don't know. I never fully understood the arrangements that the Americans had with the Iranians, other than to say I don't think you could ever trust that regime. But at the same time, now that, you know, the door's open again, and Iran is a definite enemy of Israel.
But I know for a fact that this surprised me. 6 nuclear physicists in Iran were found shot dead outside their home.
When?
This was a while ago, man. This was like maybe even 8 years ago.
So pre-Trump, during the Obama time.
Yeah. When Iran was trying to enrich their uranium, 6 nuclear physicists wind up dead, shot outside their home, killed, some in strange circumstances, and the Mossad, which is like, whoa, this is very strange. Like, so yeah.
Oh, the Israelis are, mate. They're
fucking all over it.
Yeah, but they're strong.
They're so strong. That's why I'm thinking for Palestine, what hope do they have? They've got no fucking hope. They can't become a state, because if they become a state, they have the right to bear arms and build an army. The Jews are never going to let them do that. They can't. So what do? They can't incorporate them into Israel because there's so many of them. They'd overpower them in the voting ballots.
We all know.
So
we all know what the solution is, but it's never going to happen.
What?
Israel's got to get out of there. That's the only solution.
No, Israel's not going.
I know that, but that's the solution, and that's why we'll never have peace in the Middle East.
Never.
I mean, you know what? The
universe is gonna.
Yeah, because we've got so much spare land. We've got so much spare land in this country. We could accommodate Israel.
We were gonna give the Jews WA.
But fucking, especially now with that fuckwit running it. Yeah. Yes, that's a great idea. Let's fucking imagine
Israel was gonna get.
Imagine
Perth.
McGowan. Imagine McGowan having a look after fucking. That'd be funny as fuck. He'd probably want to close the border though straight away.
Probably.
No, but seriously, honestly.
They were going to give him WA, dude, in 1947, but they said no, they wanted something closer to the Holy Land. And then they go, all right, take the Holy Land.
And this is the thing, like this whole religious element to all of it just does my head in. And this is why when people think I'm conservative and then you want to talk religion with me, and I know it's a crock of shit. So, like, you know, like Israel, if Israel was out of, you see, my only issue is, let's say Israel packed its bags and fucking we gave them Alice Springs and they built up a fucking empire in the middle of Australia. I'd love it. Be great, right? They would have no problems there. They have a good life, right?
They'd mine the fuck out of it.
Probably.
So rich.
But the thing is,
that soil.
Go back to the Middle East. So the Palestinians are given the land back and whatever, you know, it's rightfully theirs now. Well, is that going to make them happy? I wonder.
It'll just be a quiet place with kebab shops and.
No, but seriously,
shisha.
Wouldn't it be kind of be a bit ironic if that actually was granted and they still started fighting about something else?
You reckon they'd fight amongst themselves?
I don't know.
It's an interesting philosophical question.
Well, I'm just saying.
Maybe because they're so engineered to only know one way, and that is
or
fighting.
maybe they might get the shits with Lebanon over something. You know, like there might be some issue because there's a lot of Christians in Lebanon too. You know, they don't like Christians.
Absolutely.
So, who knows?
Who the fuck knows?
So this is what I'm saying. Like,
But going back to your original point,
Yep.
sorry to cut you off, to go full circle.
Yep.
Every society has blood on its hand. Every country
I
has.
believe so. Yeah.
Yep. So, would you like to see something like in 5 years we have a moving on day, and from that day forward, you just don't bring up shit. We move forward in life.
Well, do you know any marriages that work that actually don't move on from bad shit? I don't know one.
No.
So
what's the solution?
it would be like, say, my wife. I've been married before, right? It'd be me like saying to my wife every second day, "You're just like my ex. You're just like her." How do you reckon that'd go?
Yeah, you'd be in the spare room.
So I met. Fuck, if I'm lucky, it'd be like that's where you become stale because you can't move forward. So all this talk, for example, in this modern era of the SJWs of the world wanting to fix every fucking small problem that exists. You want to talk about things like racism in society. Man, we have come so far. Like, do you flinch when you see 4 African guys walking towards you in the street at all now?
I never really did.
Well, I'm just saying.
Yeah,
But
no.
you don't, right?
No, of course not. No.
Right.
I
can tell you now that as a kid growing up in the northern suburbs of Melbourne in the 80s, I did. Only because I didn't know. I didn't know any better, but now I do. Right?
Well, it was just different on your eyes.
It's just, oh wow, look at these guys.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't lose my shit, but I was always like, oh wow.
That's just your eyes registering something different. That's fine.
I would have thought so, but
Yeah.
apparently that makes me racist in the eyes of some. The
No,
radicals.
it doesn't.
In
Fuck
the
them.
radicals it does, right?
Well, that's where you got to stand up
So-
for yourself.
So
Fuck
this
them.
is the thing. Like, now, this is where I was getting to before when I was talking about being classified as a white person, right? Because it's not as simple. I mean, what's the big deal, Gab? Why do you care if people call you white? Why do I care? Because what being called white now means is like you are automatically a racist. You are not even. They're not even going to enter into a discussion.
So white equals chauvinistic, privileged person.
Yep. Basically, white supremacist. Because the system supposedly is geared in my favour. Now, there are.
Well, did you see what happened in Queensland with the 200 police officers that were
Yes.
discriminated against
Mhm.
because they were male?
Yes.
Yeah, it's happening. They're trying to balance things
Yeah,
out.
and they're overbalancing as
They're
always.
overbalanced, yeah.
Mate, I grew up in an era where
I mean, I get it.
things are a bit out of whack, and I felt that we had a relatively good equilibrium in the 90s, 2000, around that time, where we all knew racism was fucked. We all knew it was wrong, and we all knew that women probably needed a bit more of a boost and more encouragement and less, denigration and mistreatment. So we all, I feel anyway, around that time that we're never going to be perfect. This is what people don't understand. We are never going to be perfect. There are always going to be bad people that will find any excuse not to like you, right? So if someone doesn't like me because of my ethnicity, okay, they're racist, right? But what if they don't like me because they don't like my attitude? What then? I mean, some people will then go, oh, they're still racist. That's how stupid it is. I mean, what if I'm just a prick? I mean, a lot of people think that already anyway, and I don't give a fuck. But at the end of the day, people are going to always find something to not like about someone else. So if we eradicate racism, then, which will never happen because we are tribal. People are tribal. You know what I mean? So say, for example, if, you went into a room full of Greek guys, your people, right? Your mates, you understand them, they're your people, you know how they think, how they work, very similar to you. And an Italian walks in there and starts saying, fuck you Greek cunts, you're all a bunch of pricks, right? And you're going to turn around and say to that Italian, get the fuck out of here, dude. Who the fuck do you think you are? I mean, he's being racist, but are you being racist? You're just saying, dude, fucking, that's not on. But there's people out there that would go, both of you are racist. Like, what the fuck?
I just wouldn't care. I'd laugh. I'd
Yeah,
say
well, yeah.
something derogatory. They'd say something derogatory.
I know, but that's
the jokes go back and forth.
yeah, but that's normal thinking.
I think that's what people are. A lot of people are missing the fact that when you tease each other, you're forming bonds.
Well, I wrote
Like, example, Kingswood Country. Like, do you remember Kingswood Country with Ted Bullpit?
Do you know why all the wogs love that show, right? And everyone watching that
Because it was us being accepted into an Australian home.
yeah, but here's the
I
thing.
felt like the home of Ted Bullpit represented the country of Australia.
Yeah.
And I just felt like when I was watching that show, they're talking about Greeks, Italians,
Yep.
This is me being accepted into the country
Well,
as an Aussie.
I can tell
I
you-
loved being part of the joke.
I can tell you.
It wasn't at me. I didn't feel that way.
And I'll tell you why you didn't feel
We
that way.
paid in cash. We had money. We were self-respecting citizens. We were upstanding members of society. I didn't see it as
why
a
that show
negative.
worked for the Wogs, why they liked it so much, is because the protagonist, Ted Bullpit, was not portrayed as a good guy. He was portrayed not as an asshole. He was portrayed just as an idiot. So he was the dumb one in the show, and he was the one with the backward thinking.
Yeah.
So the Italians and Greeks watching that loved it because they knew that the producers of that show said,
smart enough,
this is not how we want Australians to be, so we're going to make him the idiot. But underneath it all, he's still got a heart, right? So in other words, still loves his daughter, and even though she married a Greek or whatever, and he still has his attitude towards it, but underneath it all, though, when push came to shove, he'd still help out. So they loved it. And you're right, it was also a bit of inclusion because all of a sudden it was an actual representation of Australian society, even if the people out there would think that that's racist, in terms of all the names he called him and his general demeanour towards him. That's how it was. That's how things were in the 70s and 80s. It was actually factual. It was actually accurate.
They were. It just fucking was. I remember growing up as a kid, I wanted so much to identify. I was a Richmond supporter.
Yep.
And I understood AFL. I connected more with VFL at the time because there were WOG players.
Yep.
Like my people were playing footy and I loved it.
Yeah, well, I'm a Carlton supporter. We had heaps of Wogs in our team.
Heaps. And there was I couldn't get into cricket because cricket just seemed they were all
Too Anglo.
They were all Aussies. I couldn't identify them. There was no WOG kid on a tin of Milo or on a fucking box of Weet-Bix. Play school never mentioned the
Lenny
WOG name.
Pascoe was Italian or something, or no, Pascovic. No, he was Croatian or something. He played for Australia.
How long ago?
70s.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Well, there's one got
There
through.
was also Mike Valletta. So I was into cricket. So
Could you identify with it as a kid?
I loved the game.
I fell in love with West Indies because I just felt like they were the outsiders, and
they weren't the outsiders though. They were much better than us back in those days. In the 80s, they would come here and destroy us because they were that good. They were that. My brother played cricket at a fairly high level, sub-district level, pretty good standard. Yeah.
Yeah.
And every now and then you'd get international cricketers coming along. My brother faced Malcolm Marshall.
Oh no shit.
He came in off 6 steps. My brother couldn't see the ball.
Well, yeah, I was going to ask you because you were a wicket keeper.
Yeah, I loved it. Yeah.
Could you see the ball?
Yeah.
You can.
Well, you're well back.
How far? Because a lot of people don't know how far back you actually are. You're actually
depends on the bowler. I mean,
pace, a pace delivery, a fast bowler.
So if you've got a guy coming in at 130 k's an hour, you'd probably be almost 15 metres back. Yeah, a long way back. Yeah, you need time to see it. But my fun as a keeper was up to the stumps, mate. Not to the quicks. You can't do that. But, to the medium paces and the spinners, I used to go up to the stumps all the time. Love it. You know why, though? Because I'd get in the batsman's ear.
Yeah, well, yeah. I knew you'd be a...
oh, absolutely. Do you know what happened one day?
What would you say to him?
Oh, mate, just shit like, fucking, seriously, man? You call that cricket? Do you know what you're doing? Like, did you even see that last ball, mate?
So you just heckle him?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Tell you a funny story. This happened about 10 years ago because I played cricket into my 40s, right? Anyway, a guy comes out to bat and I'm keeping, and he's looking at me, staring at me the whole way, and I'm like, "Fuck, it's this guy's problem, He goes, "You're that comedian, aren't you?" And I said, "Oh yeah." He goes, "Yeah, Gab Rossi, that's you. What are you doing?" I said, "I'm playing cricket, mate." He goes, "Oh mate, you're fucking great. I love you, man." I thought, "Thanks, man." Anyway, so this guy giving me heaps of praise and loving me.
The batsman.
The batsman.
Right, here we go. This is going to turn.
He goes out, I don't know, only a few balls later. It didn't last long. And it was a terrible shot. Like, just hit it straight down the throat of mid-wicket. Just fucking little lolly. Bad shot.
Just caught out.
Shit shot. And as he's walking off, after he praised me, I've gone, "I've never done anything funny than that, mate." And you should have seen the poor guy. He fucking dropped his head. And I've gone, "You fucking arsehole, Gab." But fuck, I couldn't help it.
You couldn't help it. Sometimes you can't help it as a comic.
But an other way round, though, I remember one time I was batting. And these guys knew who I was as well, another time. And they're fucking right up close, like they were fielding in close, one on each side of the pitch, like right up. And they were fucking giving it to me. But it was funny. I was laughing because they were really funny. Like, they were saying something like, "You're not on stage now, mate."
Really?
It's fucking great.
Did you ever bat as well?
Yeah, no, I'm a good batsman. I used to bat middle order, like around 5 or 6.
And can you see the ball from a fast paceman?
Yeah, man.
You can?
Yeah, you just got to watch it out of their hand, man.
Okay.
Just got to watch it out of their hand, and it depends. Look, some of them really good bowlers move it. That's hard.
When you say move it so that it'll hit the ground and then start,
Both.
it'll veer
Both.
off.
It'll swing through the air, and then sometimes I think the movement off the pitch is a bit of luck, man. Like sometimes if it lands on the seam, I mean they try if they bowl it, they hold it in their hand in such a way where the seam's upright, yeah. And then when they let it go, they've got to let it go in such a way that it doesn't wobble, so they keep the seam upright. And that's when if the ball lands on the seam, could shoot off either way.
Right, yeah, of course.
So that's a really skilled bowler that can do that. But I wasn't playing it like I was playing at local level. It wasn't like
there
was still
dart on the brakes.
I still remember though that at one time I came out to bat, and I was playing. I got promoted to the first team. Even I was 41. It's pretty good effort. Like I got into the best team because I was at Wyndham Vale back in the day, and we had about 5 teams. And I used to play in the seconds, but they promoted me because I was making runs with the bat. So they put me in as a batsman. And I remember coming in at like number 8, was a six drop, and we were like getting smashed. Well, 6 for 40, and there was this one guy. I think he was a Sri Lankan guy. He was quick, left arm bowler, and I remember everyone was getting hit, and they were all panicking, and he got him out, and then I've come out, and I look. Admittedly, the ball was a bit older. As it gets older, it doesn't move around as much, so a little bit of an advantage, a bit of a shine off the ball. I still remember him coming in, and I remember the first ball I faced. I thought, oh yeah, it's a bit quick, but I watched it. I let it go. It was outside off stump, so I just watched it, and I thought, all right, I've got his pace. I think that's okay. And then the next ball, similar line, maybe a little bit closer to me, and all I did, because this is what I love about quick bowlers, right? All I did was I just leant on it. I just left my bat there with a little bit of angle on it, and it's hit more or less the center of my bat, but then it shot off just backward a square through gully,
take care of it,
and it went flying to the boundary for 4.
Yeah.
So second ball I was already on 4. And that was the end of the over, and I thought, okay, that was all right. This guy got rattled. He started bowling short to me, and one of my best shots was a square cut outside off stump like that. 3 times in one over, I put him over the top of slips because he lost his head and started bowling short to me, and giving me space, and I was just helping it on its way for 4.
Okay.
And when you face a quick bowler, if you actually middle the ball, it flies.
So the center of the bat.
Yeah, you middle it, bang.
Do they still call it getting a cherry if you hit a ball really hard?
Well,
it leaves a red mark.
A
cherry.
Yeah, cherry. But I still loved keeping that. That was the best. Still love it.
Did you It's similar. Did you ever want to be a goalkeeper in soccer?
Soccer was never really my game, and I don't think I'm big enough to be a goalkeeper because I'm only a little guy, and goalkeepers have usually got long arms and stop the ball.
Right. Explain it to a layman like me. What were the Aussies doing with ball tampering? What were they trying to achieve? Like one of them had the ball down his pants and he's got sandpaper.
Yeah.
What was he trying to get?
He was making one side of the ball rough, which creates more movement through the air.
Right.
So if you scuff one side of a ball,
it's moving,
like you remember,
do
you remember the days of taping up tennis balls? Remember those days?
Of course.
So you remember how they used to tape up one side?
It was heavier, so
it would swing. Well,
right.
You notice how they shine the ball on their pants?
Yeah. Why do they shine that?
Because if you can make one side super smooth and the other side's rough, that also creates movement. Because it basically makes the ball lopsided.
Simple as a ball gets older, isn't it harder to face it?
No, opposite. Easier, much easier.
But if you keep shining the fuck out of a ball...
So what happens is, say in Test cricket, they use the same ball for 80 overs, right? So first 10, 20 overs, fucking darts all over the joint. And it also, when a ball's shiny, it also slips off the pitch, so the ball comes onto you a bit quicker. So as it gets a bit older, it starts to lose its pace. It also softens.
And sinks into a predictable pattern.
So slowly, but that's why they keep one side shiny so they can keep it moving. But eventually, like as it gets really old, it starts to lose just about everything. But that's why they keep shining one side for the first 40, 50 overs. You can still be able to get a fair bit of movement, And then you'll notice that as the ball gets older, they usually bring on the spin bowlers who then just work the actual ball itself. They flick their wrist to make the ball spin through the air and land and dart that way, So that's why a lot of times spin bowlers are given the older ball. Whereas the pace bowlers are given the new ball because it moves more. Spin bowlers can make the ball move in a different way, So they get it to bounce off the pitch and they get it to do unpredictable things too. So I loved cricket, mate. It was a great game. It's a really good game, like to play. Maybe not to watch, but it's a sensational game to play. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was nothing else to watch growing up as a kid. So
But as a
we're
kid,
forced
like
to watch it.
yeah, but you talked about wogs and cricket. My under 12s team, half of us were wogs, mate. I actually played against, even in my senior cricket years, Newport Colts, was it? They had all Lebos, mate. Lebanese guys all in the side.
all wanting to be batters.
No, I just remember them. Yeah, we used to go down there, and I still remember one day when we got into an argument with one of the guys, and he got the shits, and he goes, and I swear to God, you can't even make this shit up. He actually literally said, after we were giving him shit for, because he was being a smart ass, and we knew he was a lebo, and we're giving him a bit of shit about being a lebo. He literally said, "Mate, with one phone call, I could have 20 people here."
Well, yeah.
And we just went.
Fair enough.
We just said, "Yeah, we fucking know, mate."
Yeah.
Because we know you can't fucking handle it on your own.
Yeah.
It was funny, man. I still can't. Like, people say you shouldn't perpetuate stereotypes, and then shit like that happens.
Yeah.
It's like one day someone said to me, I did a joke years ago about, fucking how a lot of Arabs own Taragos and go around in fucking 10, 20, 12 people in the one car. And, everyone goes, "Oh, you shouldn't do jokes like that. That's racist. That's you're making stereotypes." And then I'm on the Westgate Freeway, go past the Tarago with 11 Arabs in it. I can't make that shit up, mate.
They're stereotypes for a reason, aren't they?
Well, this is the thing. Like, I get told all the time you shouldn't perpetuate stereotypes, but I don't. I don't make that shit up. I just observe and see it and go, oh. And then I see it 10 times and I go, okay. And then if the audience are laughing, then you know perfectly well that they go, yeah, he's right, that does happen.
Well, that's my indicator. That's why I don't pay attention to that movement.
It's coming for us. They're coming for us, bro.
But how? They won't get into the heads of 500 people in an audience. People will still laugh on a Friday night after they've had a few drinks.
Now,
as long as you're not racist or coming from a bad place, the audience will have an amazing ability to collectively pull you up.
I agree with you, but at the same time, they're still going to try. So that's why we have to stand firm.
But we are. Like, I don't want to be on TV. It's too late for me to get on TV or radio. So what's the big deal?
Sure.
Comedy clubs aren't going to boot me out. I've been going for 19 years.
Yeah, look, I mean, I hear.
No one has said you can't do that joke.
Well, you know what, man? The thing is, though, I still don't even want them to think that they can control what I do. I don't want to even fucking try. If they try, then I'm going to take them to task. Okay? As you said, if I say something at a show and my audience either don't laugh or really take umbrage, or if I do a joke about any particular group of people, whether it be a racial or anything to do with anything, whatever, and one of those people are there and they come to me and they explain to me why that joke upset them, I'm going to fucking listen, because they're the people I care about. I don't care about the fucking white liberal that's going to tell me that I'm, offending her on behalf or him on behalf of someone else. They can get fucked. I don't want to talk to those people, right? The ones that I will listen to are the people that the joke itself may actually be about. Then I'll listen to them and take on board what they've got to say, provided, of course, that I'm in a room full of people that possibly I could sense they may not have been comfortable with that joke. So if there's a joke that I know makes people uncomfortable, I'm not going to keep doing it.
That's my problem with stand-up right now. Like, I need to be fearless on stage and make mistakes, and it's okay to make mistakes and get pulled up. Like, I did a joke, it didn't work. And then afterwards, a couple of comics came up to me and were like, "Oh man, I had no idea you were like so pro-Israeli." And I'm like, "Oh fuck, no, I'm not. I'm actually like worried about the Palestinians. I wasn't trying to be pro anyone. I'm just trying to make a joke." And I went, "Yeah, no, you came out too heavy." So now I've got to listen back to it and reconstruct that joke.
Correct.
But a reviewer, if I was famous, would have taken that and gone bang.
See you later.
So
no second chance.
We're in. It's hard for comics. I mean,
no second chance.
Chris Rock himself said he's grateful he's not doing stand up now, because there was a time where he was cutting his teeth. He'd say really out there shit, and people would have a go at him afterwards backstage, going, you're bigoted, you're racist. I can't believe you said that about women. He's like, whoa, I'm just fucking panel beating, working shit out.
Yeah.
And now with YouTube, you're fucked.
Well,
so
there's plenty of jokes that I've got that could get me in all sorts of trouble if I was in the wrong environment. And I just want to understand that, or want people to understand that there's no hatred here, man. None. I only hate people that fucking want to try and sort of destroy me. Why would I like those people? This is the thing. Like, these people aren't trying to educate me. They're not trying to help me. They're trying to destroy me. So fuck you. I'm going to destroy you. And this is what I'm doing with my social media. I'm putting out videos. I'm dangling the carrot for them to come after me, and I can make them look silly. I can easily make them look silly.
Have you ever thought of giving your act a rounded appearance in terms of like doing some like you could let people know in a way you're pro-marriage, you're pro whatever gender you want to be, and all this sort of you're pro-choice.
I don't think
because people do.
Yeah, I understand where you're going with that,
and just to give a rounded character.
Yeah, but yourself. I sort of do that. I sort of touch on, the fact that I don't have any particular issues with anything. I touch on that. You know what I mean? Like, I know where you're coming from, but I don't think in my act I'm as like social media is different. Okay, because on social media I'll go pretty hard on. So I'll pick a topic, it'll usually be inspired by a news story of the day or whatever, and I'll go, right, I'm going to do a video about this tonight because say for example, yesterday they put out that the Pope is now one of the fucking spokesmen for climate change, which I think is one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard on the planet.
Really?
Absolutely. It's fucking stupid, right? So they've done that. So today, I know
it's fucking bizarre.
Well, I mean,
that doesn't make any sense.
So is an 18-year-old Swedish girl. So is fucking Al Gore, a failed politician, talking about it. You know what I mean? Like, it's all bizarre.
Yeah, but don't you see the 18-year-old Swedish girl is a beacon? She represents an image, an ethos, an understanding that it's up to the kids of tomorrow. That's what she is. She's an ambassador for the future.
Right.
It's not,
But she's hardly an expert, mate.
No, she's not. But it's not about that.
Then
neither is your kid when he says something concerning to you about the environment. But you care about him so much. That's all they're trying to do. They're trying to use.
Yeah, but that's manipulation. It's not fucking legit.
It's manipulation for a good cause.
I don't believe that.
Oh, well, that's where we differ.
Because I don't think that climate change is anything like what we're talking about.
That's where we differ. That's fine.
No, there is an issue with the climate, but I don't think it's in our hands, mate. I don't think it's anything we can do about it. You know what I mean? But in saying that, I can argue with any guy flat out, and I can tell you now that I've probably done more to reduce my carbon footprint than most people. So I've got a 7.5 kilowatt solar panel set up in a 22,000 water litre tank. So with all that in mind,
but your motivation behind that was economic, right?
No. Not at all.
But you don't believe in climate change. Why'd you do it?
I still believe in stopping pollution. I still believe in cleaning the air. I'd like to breathe clean air.
You sound contradictory. You know what I mean? You're like anti-climate change, but then
no, I'm not anti-climate change. I just don't believe the narrative that we're being fed is correct.
To what end? Like
to what end? To what end?
It's too much.
Too much.
It's exaggerated.
Absolutely exaggerated. Also that whatever you and I do is not going to make a shit of difference if corporations don't do their bit. And corporations and we'll put it this way, if they can give China all these concessions, then how can I take them seriously? If the biggest polluter on the planet, them and India, and you get the leftists arguing, they're still developing nations. China's about to take over the fucking world. How are they still a developing nation?
I get it. It's like you're being told off for farting and next to a dinosaur that's farting.
Correct.
It's just, It
doesn't add up.
It doesn't add up.
Australia as a country are responsible for 1.4% of the world's emissions, right? But then they keep going on about per capita, where we're number 1 or 2.
Per capita doesn't make us difference.
Well, what I'm saying, though, is
weird.
This is the weird thing about people that, when they use that statistic to try and demonize Australia as a country, I mean, fuck me. You want to compare a country with 1.5 billion people to a country with 25 million people. Of course we're going to have bigger emissions per capita because in China, the proportion of people living in China that live in really small accommodation would not have a big carbon footprint, would they? Because they're in a little fucking shack, right? Or small, they're not all living in fucking 4-bedroom houses in suburbia like we are, right? So of course the fucking emissions per capita is going to be different. You can't go back to China and go, you guys are doing a great job, mate. By the way, don't worry about the fact that you've just opened up 250 new coal-fired power plants in the last 12 months. That's okay. You're still developing. Give me a fucking break. They're so quick to criticize Western countries, but they won't ever say a bad word about China. That reeks in double standards, hypocrisy, and all sorts of shit to me. And China are doing more for. No, they're not. They're fucking not. All right, and they've also been given more time to sort this shit out. Fine, I get that. But end of the day, mate, we're going to get to 2050. We'll be at zero emissions. And then what? Like, okay, well done. But if China's still pumping out fucking, half a gazillion fucking, amounts of tons of fucking CO2 into the air because we let them go, it was all for nothing. Like,
I heard they're on track. They've got a plan as well.
Of course they have.
For 2050.
Of course
they say.
It's 2060, by the way.
For them?
Yep. 2060 is their zero target. They've got another 10 years.
Right. Like, that's handy.
Well, mate, a lot can happen in 10 years too. Point of the matter I'm saying is that we just seem to be too scared to criticise certain people, more than happy to criticise some.
That's always the way.
Well, it shouldn't be.
No one wants to end up like Charlie Hebdo and draw fucking Muhammad and then get bulleted.
Well,
No one wants to pick on China when they live in China because they've got an anti-terror law now that's saying if you say bad shit about China, we can lock you up. Which means if you go and perform at the Hong Kong Comedy Store and say
which I won't be anytime soon,
and you say nasty shit about, not now, but if you say nasty shit about China, they can apprehend you.
Look,
it's fucking madness, man.
I don't want this to sound like a China bashing episode because at the end of the day, I don't have an issue with China per se, especially not the people. I do have a bit of an issue with the CCP. I think I'm pretty anti-communist. Don't like communism as a rule. I think it's I don't like totalitarian style government. But the people of China are amazing, great people, fantastic people, like fucking smart. They're so fucking smart. Chinese medicine, mate, fucking love that shit. It's the best. They are so clever and it's so natural too. So all I'm going to say is that the standard has to apply across the board, not just to people that you want to say we're privileged because we're white. It all comes back to that. It's like everything is about demonizing white people. And I don't even feel like a white man, and yet I'm told every day I'm a white man now. And I don't feel like one.
You're white.
I'm
white. We're white.
I know I'm white skinned. I know my tone is light, but I'm not a fucking white man.
We're white wogs.
Yeah, but
slightly different.
Why was I you know what my nickname was at school? Gab Rossi. You understand that? That's how dark I was. I was the darkest kid in the class at one point. So there was an issue with my skin color then. It didn't bother me because, mate, I love the fact that I tanned. It was great.
Yeah, I love summer.
Yeah, absolutely. But the point is that I'm a pretty tough sort of person, so it probably didn't bother me. But what if it did? What if I really hated it? What if I was embarrassed? My brother was even darker than me. And I know he did get upset. He used to get upset. Oh, yeah. And what, you don't think I ever got kicked or punched or spat on for being a wog? Of course I did. So, now they're telling me I'm one of them. Like after you fucking gave me shit 30 years ago, now I'm one of you? No. Doesn't work that way. So, I mean, I'm not anti-Australian. I think of myself as an Aussie first and foremost. But don't drag me into your bullshit. If you think that because I have fair skin, that I'm just like you are, after you told me 35 years ago to fuck off back to where I came from, even though I was born here. No, mate, I'm not playing that game. I'm not going to join you. I mean, I'm not going to hate you, but I'm certainly not going to go, yeah, I'm one of you guys now. No fucking way. I'll never feel 100% that way. Remember that joke I do? When I say my mates still call me a wog to remind me I'm not welcome? Right? It's tongue-in-cheek. I'm not hurt by the term. I don't get upset. But I'm still in a different category to them in their eyes. I'm not the same white Aussie guy. I'm not a white Aussie. Maybe I'm a white wog. You want to call me that. But don't, after what we went through, it is completely and utterly ridiculous to say to me that you got to check your privilege. Because I fought hard, man. I didn't fucking get it easy. And no, if you think for a minute, anyone out there watching this going, oh yeah, but you don't have any doors shut in your face because you're Italian. Well, fucking bullshit, mate. Go to the entertainment industry and do some digging and you'll find out that that's not the case either. End of story. So make of that what you will. Sour grapes? What, because I've been passed over for opportunities? Mate, I have been. And I tell you now, okay, maybe it's not because I am Italian heritage alone. in isolation. It's probably not that. It's probably because in my show, I talk about it a lot. And for whatever reason, the powers that be in our industry here in Melbourne and Australia, they still see that as a topic of discussion that shouldn't be happening. They're more than happy for someone of, Middle Eastern origin to talk about their heritage. But as soon as an Italian or Greek or a Spanish...
It's not in anymore.
Well, whatever the case, if it's old school, that's another thing. But it doesn't necessarily... Like, I don't use myself as an example because I haven't had any major levels of success. I've done okay. I've managed to carve out a career and fly under the radar, which I'm wrapped with, to be honest.
But I think people would be interested if you distilled everything that you just said now in 10 minutes.
Yeah, but let's talk
and
about...
make it funny. Why wouldn't they?
But let's talk about Joe Avady for a minute, right? Good friend of mine, Joe. One of our most successful comedians ever in terms of overseas success, right?
Made it big in Canada, didn't he?
Huge in Canada. He's got a following in England, and he's even, he's sort of tickled a little bit of America as well, right? He's as successful as any of our comedians, like whether it be Hughesy or anyone that's gone overseas and had a bit of fun, right? He asked 6 or 7 times just to do a spot on the Comedy Festival Gala when he was performing during the festival and was rejected every time. I mean, let that sink in.
Okay, but let me give you maybe just the other side. It's 1 or 2 people that run the comedy festival that make these big decisions.
Still.
So you can't let them pass judgment on all of rest of Australia.
You make a very good point. But
that's just, she's the gatekeeper, or whoever that person is, they're the gatekeepers.
Yeah, but you make a very valid point, and I hear you, but I will say that's just one example. There's others.
Yeah,
What about, okay, I'll tell you now, very well-known TV show has a producer who's a good friend of my mate, right? And he asked to appear on that show once and said, oh, no, they wouldn't have you on there. And he goes, why? And he goes, no, you're just not their type.
Ring SBS.
Yeah. You got it. Anyway, man, I got to go, man. I got to pack up and get going, buddy.
Let's go. Thanks for coming in, Gab.
Oh, well, fucking say, how many more enemies am I going to have after this?
No, you'll be right. Thanks, mate.
All right, cheers.